students/teachers of Reddit. What's the best backquote forgot to turn off the mic story during virtual learning? The president of the uni I attended until 2007 was presenting something with a bunch of other important people. This was being recorded for later upload, and right when the pandemic was starting, his wife appears in the middle of the talk mad as hell, telling him to go clean the toilet and that she's not his slave to clean his ps. A few very awkward seconds later he just says maybe we have to edit this out later. Now imagine how viral this must have been. I haven't had any ties to the uni since 2007, yet somehow the video got to my WhatsApp. Dude, my one teacher forgot to turn off his camera and his son was changing in the background and the son kept on looking at the camera. I remember a similar question where a mom answered that she was taking a Zoom call in the garden until a coworker mentioned that there was a naked kid skateboarding behind her. Bart Simpson. Not a mic, but an elementary student left their camera for a moment and the mother walked by naked. Guessing she asked him to leave the room so she could change or something, not realizing the camera was left on. Stus's mom has got it going on. In a math class I was in last year, we were taking a test, which you have to turn your mic on for the way of trying to prevent cheating. Some girl apparently forgot that hers was on and started belting out Stand By You by Rachel Platten at the top of her lungs. It went on for the entire song and she was still humming it when I finished the test and left the call. Lol, having your mic on does not stop text conversations, as far as my experience goes anyways. You could literally Google answers. Or like my school's exam tool, right click inspect element led to the correct answer being different than the others. LMAO, nothing better than client-side answer validation. Girl forgot to turn off her mic and started screaming at her parents in Chinese. I wish I understood what she said. After few minutes, she gasped loudly when she finds out she didn't mute it. Good thing not many people understood. I had a student give a smart-ass response to a question I asked, and before I could respond his mom starts chewing into him and hitting him with a chancla. His mic and video was on for the whole thing. What was the question and response? I gotta hear this. Also sorry if I'm not responding to all the comments. Edit. 4 more messages have popped up while I was writing this. Edit. 5. Edit. 6. Edit. I'll just stop and read them. Can't believe my first thread on this place is actually working well. Honestly, I can't even remember the question, but he said, pss. Just a dumbass 8th grader trying to look hard on his first week of online classes. Definition chancla worthy. In one of my classes, this girl wrote in the Zoom chat, "This is so boring," not realizing that the professor could see it. How stupid do you have to be to do that? I mean, it literally says, "To everyone." Wrong window? Maybe she also had a private group chat going with friends. It isn't too bad, but during the graduating ceremony for a class, all staff were asked to attend and turn on their mic to clap at certain points so it wouldn't be awkward. One such staff member forgot to turn their mic back off and was heard loudly jokingly insulting her husband and asking for another drink whilst complaining about how long and boring this was. This was broadcast to a whole class, their parents, and anyone else listening. We stuck together and didn't tell anyone who it was, but we all knew. Mute your mix. Edit. Changed the rating to more what it actually was. Maybe I used the word wrong, but we are in the UK and that's how we show love. I heard what she was saying, guys. It wasn't ps. Oh lord, that's bad. My teacher got scolded by his wife, another teacher in school, because she needed to work and he didn't repair her computer. He was a computer technology teacher and he just keeps saying, "Sorry honey, I forgot. I won't do it again. I promise it will take 2 seconds to fix it." In loop because the wife went on a little rant of how he always forgot things. When he saw the mic was still on he blushed and after a moment of silence just went on with the lesson. Of how he always forgot things. When he saw the mic was still on he blushed and after a moment of silence just went on with the lesson. A moment of silence for his pride. LMAO. During my English class, this one girl forgot to mute herself. While my teacher was talking, she almost deafened all of us on the Zoom call answering her mother's questions. Her mother from a distance, "What class are you in?" Her yelling, "English." Her mother, "Oh, the hot teacher?" Her, "Yeah, that guy." Now, even I'll admit my teacher is fairly attractive, but it does take it to another level when you get your own mother involved. Thankfully, our teacher is a chill guy and thought the whole thing was just kind of funny, and kind of just gave a general reminder to the class to keep mics muted. She didn't say anything for the rest of the class. Hell, it probably made his week. Even good looking guys don't get that many compliments, so yeah. Your hair looks nice. Lol, imagine the person you replied to was bald. Lol, I have long hair. And it looks nice. Ironically, my ed teacher forgot to turn off his mic and camera and proceeded to get in a very heated argument on the phone with his ex-girlfriend who he has a kid with. Did I mention that she's also a teacher at our school? Yeah, most awkward 5 minutes of my life before he realized. Probably also the most awkward 5 minutes of his life. Most awkward moment was when he realized he wasn't muted. Wasn't that awkward for him to do it? I don't know. The persistent shame that I would feel for days afterwards would be way more than a moment. Somebody in my class forgot to turn off the mic and started singing along to a song and loudly. Somebody told her and there was this odd whop noise and then she cut off. Lol, this happened to me once minus the mic part. When I was about 9 we used to go to painting classes during summer vacation, and one day we were painting some rocks or something and I was singing in my head and suddenly the whole class started laughing. Turned out during the loudest part of the song I sang loudly. When I was 8, I went to a hotel with my dad, and in the lobby bathroom I started singing Britney Spears' Hit Me Baby One More Time. When I came out, the people in the lobby clapped while having a good laugh. I was more than a little embarrassed. In a thermodynamics class, one of the students said, "Holy leaps, this is so much," after covering a large set of equations related to fugacity. Everyone found it relatable. One of my professor's classes had a student say something like, "I just joined 5 minutes before class and this is already teaching." The professor just laughed and told him his mic was on. Something similar happened in my class. In Zoom you can text something for the entire class to see, or you can send something to a person individually. So, a friend of mine thought he sent me this retard can't expect us to do that exercise. It's 8 AM in the morning, but he sent it to the entire class. The teacher saw it. Everything stopped for like 30 seconds, and then he continued like nothing ever happened. Felt bad for the guy. I was producing a video for some university professors on a specific medical thing for a virtual learning course. I was all set up to shoot the process, and the teachers excused themselves to the next office to regroup and have a chat. I already had their wireless lav mics attached and fed to my camera. So when I sat down at the camera and put on my headphones I immediately heard their conversation. They were criticizing me, saying they couldn't believe they hired someone so young, inexperienced in that particular medical field, how I looked, how I asked questions, etc. Oops. At least I made them a fine video. These days I don't put my headphones on until we're about to shoot. Oh, that's so sad. I hope you proved them wrong big time with an amazing video. I did my best. That's the spirit, buddy. I was visiting my best friend during a lecture, and she had her mic and video turned off. She then had to join a group discussion and sometimes unmuted herself to contribute something. After that the whole class was supposed to present their results and she supposedly muted herself again. I started venting to her how wasps are considered wild bees, even though they have no business being bees, because they're apes, and suddenly we hear laughter from her professor and her classmates. She forgot to mute herself. Lol. If I was talking to someone who didn't notice they unmuted themselves, I would take full advantage of it, and also nonchalantly look at the camera and smile from time to time. My son calls his tablet his fix, because when I first got it, and the battery would die, I'd tell him I was going to fix it. So imagine his pre-K teacher surprise last spring, when he asked me if he could have his fix, now that he was done with school. Lol, I cracked up, held up the fix in question, and explained what he meant. The first time I fixed something that was broken around my house that this were fascinated, I think I installed a new tap. For the next couple of weeks we'd be out walking somewhere and see something broken, for example, the handrail on a set of stairs, and my daughter, who was only about 3, would look at me and say, "Daddy, fix." During a virtual gym class for my high school, a girl forgot to mute herself during a workout and yelled some obscene things very loudly. It never occurred to me that there would be virtual gym class, but it makes sense, I guess. Also, they should allow obscenity in schools, especially in gym class, creative writing, and computer programming. Can confirm programming is ups. Print hello ups world. Print stew world. Print stew Baltimore. I'm not a student, but work in the tech industry. I've been in meetings where people forget to mute themselves on large company calls with hundreds or thousands of attendees, and we'll hear a fart and then a toilet flush. That's about as interesting as these meetings get though. Same. We had an update about a reorg that was supposed to be very serious because everyone's job was on the line. There were like 1 KPPL on the call and the VP couldn't get a word in because there was always someone unmuted in a room filled with babies operating a jackhammer or something. Also there was a toilet flush, which was hilarious. The image of a room full of babies operating a jackhammer is awesome. I hope none of them were fired. Don't you get it? A single 8-year-old can do the work of a dozen babies in that capacity. Significant opportunity for a reduction in labor costs. A student in my class forgot to turn off their mic, and we heard some background noises, doors closing, tapping, and because of a display bug, we couldn't see where the noise was from. Then the student started saying crap about the teacher. Oh, yeah, this is useless. He's just writing on a tablet. Even I could do that, etc. Everyone heard that. The teacher heard them just insult him. They didn't come back to the classes after that. We had a student in my class that was logged in on a smartphone using an anonymous login who never muted their mic once. They were outside or near a window. Every time when their mic picked up a sound, it would maximize their blank screen, minimizing the teacher's lesson, which was on a whiteboard. It happened a lot. The teacher didn't know who it was, and despite all of us begging them to mute, they never responded or did so, and the teacher wasn't able to mute or boot them. The worst part is, since they were connected anonymously, they never even got recorded as attending the lectures and failed for that reason alone. All of us suffered for this one who failed anyway. Not virtual, but I was a guest speaker at a music college last year. My mic was still on when I finished. Went backstage and said, well, that was horrible. I wasn't called back to speak again. Edit. For those curious of the aftermath, I heard it out of the speakers and an immediate uproar of laughter ensued. I would have laughed had I been a student, but as a working professional it was one of the single most awkward experiences of my life. The students probably loved it. I probably would have laughed my ass off tbh. I had a student's boyfriend both college walk up behind her on Zoom, reach into her shirt, pull out her breasts, and start doing a little boob dance. She was just laughing and playfully slapping his hands away. This was probably 30 seconds after I had just gone through my whole speech of making sure there was nothing in your browser history, Google search history, or names of folders that could be embarrassing or offensive. They probably knew. He was establishing dominance over the rest of class. Not really a mixed story, but a friend of mine Facebook stalked a cute guy in their toot before realizing she was still screen sharing. And this is why you always stalk people on a different device. Sounds like you've had experience in stalking. No, just experience with knowing how to use Zoom. There's a setting that lets you share your screen or a specific tab, even if you click to a different tab. A student's mother had a habit of standing just off camera and very closely observing her kid. I know this because one time the student forgot to disable the mic. Everyone heard how the mother was coaching the student how to act. Don't look my way, smile, pay attention. It was next level helicoptering, right on the edge of in my opinion. Our school has a good counselor and the student is getting help. All the teachers have been advised to limit contact with the mother and not make waves, lest she withdraw the student or redouble her controlling behavior. I worry about it. I hovered over my first grader for the first week because she has no idea how to use a computer. So I stayed right by her to help her. After that week I let her be. I'll go in there when she asks for help still. But I'm beyond proud and amazed of how well she's handling it all. Same. I hovered over my kids just in case they needed help with the technology. Then once they got the hang of it, mostly I would hang out of frame building my model airplanes in case they needed to grab me for help. They frequently would. Well, it happened in one of the classes. The teacher was going through a rough time and the class could feel it. We assured her that we had done our homework and that she could take rest for the time being. She agreed and told she would switch her mic off and sleep for a while, as we did whatever. Her husband was right beside her and the mic wasn't turned off. She told, "I'm so lucky to have these students," and started sobbing to her husband. We all heard this, but kept quiet to prevent her being embarrassed. She slept well during that time and we sent her a thank you gift collectively. As a professor teaching virtually this semester, this gives me all kinds of hope. I'm also adjunct, so I don't have money for internet points, but no, I think you deserve that. Thank your classmates for me.